you for your co-creation.
And yours?
Could you explain what a 45-degree angle turn and how to access other realities and how this relates?
All right. We will relate this to you from one particular direction that dovetails most strongly into the work that you're going to be doing within this particular workshop. Imagine, if you will, a sphere. Make it, if you wish, clear, transparent. Have you got it? All right. Now, do you see a point at the center? All right. Now, there are three vectors that are important to understand for the idea of the first three dimensions that will then take you into the fourth. The three vectors are 180 degrees, 90 degrees, which is half of that, and 45, which is again half of that. 1, 2, 3. Now, if you now focus on this point at the center of the sphere and go 180 degrees, let's just say for now up and down, you've got the North Pole point and the South Pole point. Have you got it? So you have a line, like an axis, going through the center of the sphere to the point on top, point in the middle, point on the bottom. See that? All right. Now, that is the first one, the first line is thus then the only 180-degree vector that you can plot or course within a sphere. The next line, which would cross it like an X in a sense, through the equator, through the center, like a chord, from the center point out to 2 points, would be a 90-degree, would it not? To the first line. Then 90 degrees to that will give you the XYZ axis. Have you got that? Mm-hmm. All right. Now, from this point, the only other vector, in a sense, is 45s. You've already gone now 180. You've done the 90s. Now, in between all of those, both along the equator and in between each of the equator points and the North and South Pole points, you have another 45-degree angle point. When you draw all of the 180, 90, and 45-degree angle three-vector points, you will find that including the center point, you have 27 points. You can plot this out later if you can't see it in your head now. You will find this to be true. 27 points represents the three vectors that are required for the full coverage of the third-dimensional reality that then describes the sphere, that is, in a sense, the connection from your reality to a higher dimensional reality. Along with the understanding of the geometric forms, this has all been encoded in many of your ancient languages. This is why what you call your ancient Hebrew text has 27 letters. It describes these 27 points. Each point is a different tone and a different vector. And if you can learn to see each of these shapes of these letters and turn them around in your head and make them become all the other letters, you will have taken yourself through all three vectors, all 27 points, and that will be analogous to the kind of mental gymnastics that we're also talking about when you turn the polyhedrals around in your head as well. That's why each of these letters is chanted. Not just spoken, but chanted, because each chant is a tone that, at least originally, corresponded to the shift key that each letter represented. Now, understand this, as many of you may already do. All of those 27 letters are composed from the same shape. It is the spiral that is the active principle in creation. If you take a spiral, similar to the idea of what you would call a ram's horn, not just a flat spiral, but one that's extended up, like a ram's horn, a corkscrew, spiral, going from a broad base to a point, in a sense, yes, along the Fibonacci sequence, along the golden proportion sequences, again, like the ram's horn spiral. If you take the shadow of that shape, and if you hold that shape in all of the 27 positions we have described about the sphere, you will see that the shadow of the shape will change into all 27 of the Hebrew letters.
That's what Stan Tenon's working with.
Yes. But this is why it's that way. It's connected interdimensionally to the three vectors of interdimensionality that you need to describe the full dimension you live in, so that having all those chords, all those vibrations in one, you can then translate to a higher dimension.
This was known to ancient peoples, ancient
Yes,
Hebrews?
it was known completely intuitively.
And how was it lost, or was it saved in any of the texts like the Kabbalah?
It is saved in many of the texts, such as the Kabbalah, and many of the ancient Hebrew texts, and many of the ancient Sanskrit texts, and many of the ancient Atlantean texts that you will find again. But the idea is, again, that intuitively it was known, and the idea is that you have forgotten because of the degree of segregation, separation, and limitation that you have gone through on your journey to understand third-dimensional reality. But in the whole, this is not a negative thing. You will now use all of this. You now have all this experience, as you say, under your belt. You understand third-dimensional reality very well. And now you can take all of the limitation and transform it into an unlimited application.
Okay.
All right?
Next question.
Yes.